Mr. Rogers, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us today. You're quoted a lot as saying if you are smart in 1807, you'd move to London. And if you're smart in 1907, you'd go to the New York City. And in 2007, you should come to Asia. So you did with your family in 2007 to Singapore. So do you really think if the center of the world's economy is shifting from the west to the east? And if so, why is it happening?
Well, it is happening. There's no question. All you have to do is go to the west and then come to the east, and you'll see what's happened, especially if you had been in the east 30 years ago, say. In the 1920s and 1930s, the center of the world moved from UK to the US, exacerbated by a financial crisis and mistakes made by politicians. The same thing is happening now. The world is moving from the US to Asia. So I moved to Asia too for my children. You know, and again, it's exacerbated by a financial crisis and mistakes made by politicians. The largest creditor nations in the world are China, Korea, Japan, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Singapore. The assets are in Asia. America's the largest debtor nation in the history of the world. All the other debtors are in the West. No, the world has changed and is changing.
And about the reasons?
Partly because this is where the money is. And everybody always follows the money throughout history. People always say, look at all the money, and they go there. They don't say, look at all the debts, let's go there. This is where everything is. This is where things are happening. The West is in decline, and Asia's on the rise for many, many reasons.
You know, you're kind of well known for your bullishness, the so-called bullishness on China, in spite of all the negative comments on this country, saying it'll collapse someday, but you always maintain this confidence in us. Why are you so optimistic about us?
Well, there will be problems at times in China. No country, nothing goes straight up. No country, no company, no family, no individual. Everybody rises like this. There'll be setbacks along the way. Yes, there will be plenty of problems in China. I don't know what or when or why or how. So don't think there won't be problems someday. There will be. And there will be people that go bankrupt. There will be serious problems at times. But in the end, China is going to be the most successful country in the 21st century. China is the only country I know in world history which has had recurring periods of greatness. Great Britain was great once. Rome was great once. Egypt was great once. But China has been great spectacularly several times, 3 or 4 times in history. You've also had catastrophes 3 or 4 times in history. It's been complete disaster. But every time you have come back and risen again. Maybe it's the air, maybe it's the water, maybe it's the genes. I'm not sure what it is, but something causes it. In 1978, after 300 or 400 years of decline, Deng Xiaoping said, let's try something new. We have to try something new. Since then, he has unleashed China again, and you have been the most successful country in the past 30 years. Partly because you have a very high rate of savings and investing. You save over 35 and invest over 35% of your income. In America, we save 2% of our income. You work from dawn to dusk in China. For whatever reason, China is the next great country. You have a huge landmass, of course you have a lot of people, but you have all of Siberia where you can get more resources. You have everything going for you, but you will have mistakes along the way. Don't think you won't. But when? Next time I see problems in China, I'm not going to say to my daughters, stop learning Mandarin, now you must learn Danish or something. They're going to continue to know Asia and to speak Mandarin.
That's cool. That sounds like something coming out of a person who was majored in history. You just told me a lot of history. But we have to face it that China today does face a lot of problems. And I think in one of your previous interview with Business Insider, you expressed your concern about China's debt at local levels. Do you think we really have a credit bubble crisis? And if so, do you think it's about to burst?
I have no idea. I do read in the press that there's a lot of debt which is built up at the provincial, at the local level, if you will, and then in some trust accounts, etc. I mean, I have not done the research myself, so I don't know. But whenever you have a big buildup of debt, it usually leads to problems. So I just presume historically, it always has led to a problem, and I presume China will have a problem too. Everybody else throughout the last few thousand years had, but it's not the end of the world. It's the way the world works. People get overextended, they collapse, they go bankrupt, and it starts over. It's not the end of China, I assure you.